Hi, I'm Ever from Ever's Watercolors. Welcome to my classroom. Hey, today I'm going to show you something new and exciting that I'm using in my art. It's called a sketch and wash pencil and a water brush. These two tools, I can do a sketch on location, I can do a final painting, or I can add some detail touches to a finished painting by adding some shadows. So I want to show you how I use this. I'll show you a demonstration in black and white, and I'll show you adding a little bit of color. So I can't wait to get started, so let's go over to my drawing board. Now these are the two tools I showed today. I can do a whole painting with just these two tools. The first one here is called a sketch and wash. It's a water-soluble graphite pencil, which has liquefiable graphite, and I use the water pen. This pen has water in this little tube here. It's filled up and it has synthetic bristles on the end. And with these two tools, I can do a complete painting, and later on I can add color to it if I choose to. And also the third thing I show here is I have my 140-pound Gemini watercolor paper, which is what I use in my art. Now with these two tools, it's a very, very portable art tool set. I can do a sketch and wash, I can do a painting, a black and white painting with it, and or I can add shadows and so forth to a finished painting. Now this is a reference photo that I'm using. It's an old log cabin. It's a pretty good subject matter to start with, a simple shape and so forth. That'll give you the idea of how I use these pencils. So I'm going to use this old log cabin as my photo reference. And I've gone ahead and I've sketched in the shape of the building. I changed around a little bit. I've added a tree over here in the front and added some fence posts and so forth. I made a little modification on the actual sketch. And this second piece of paper I'm going to use, you'll see what I use this for. It's really a palette here that I use for my sketch and wash, and I can add more color or a lighter value in the actual process. So the first thing I do, I want to pick an area that I want to add some dark. Let's say for this particular demonstration, the sunlight is coming in from the right side over here. So this side would be on shadow. This is the front side of the building. This would be the side of the building. So I'm going to make a little shadow here. So I take the sketch and wash and actually go right in there with that pencil and put in that dark color. Okay, then I pick up my water brush, which has water in it, and right away you can see right there how that graphite water-soluble material liquefies and gives me an instant dark area. This is my shadow area. Now for a lighter area, let's say around the tree, what I can do, another technique I do is on the second piece of paper here, I can build a little area that I call my palette, but I can put some graphite there and then liquefy it with the pen and go up here and actually start putting some values up in the tree, a little darks here. And if I want a little bit lighter, add more water. So I can add more water or less graphite to give me a lighter value. And also if I want it darker, I can go right in to a wet area. Let's say I wet this surface here, and go right in with a pencil and darken up an area. I go back in, I can go in and spread that graphite around. Okay. Now for the background areas, again, I could put in a light value behind the building, say these are some background trees back here, which could be a lighter value. So by adding more water to that graphite, I can change the dark and the lightness of that particular area. Okay. Now one more area I'll show you. This happens to be a doorway I have here. In the reference photo it was a window, but I changed it into a doorway. That's the nice thing about art. You can make modifications. You can make changes. So this doorway would be inside the building, would be in shadow. So I just put the graphite in there and then add the water from the water pan. I can lighten it up a little bit, and then you can see I can do a light and dark area here where it shows there's a shadow in the door. The light coming from this direction, there's a shadow, and then it gets a little bit lighter that way. And then behind the door, there might be a cast shadow from the door itself onto the building. So I can put a little cast shadow here behind the door. So I can build this painting up with a black and white to show the shadows, the shadow patterns, and so forth. And I actually make a final painting. Now let me show you a little bit. I went ahead and did a sketch on this. You can see here, I've added in the shadow patterns here on the building. I've added more lighter value up in the trees. I added a second building in the background with another shadow. I put some shadows on the ground from the direction of the light, and you can see in the background is also a medium or lighter value behind the buildings. Now I can go one step further. I can make a painting out of this just the way it is. I could add clouds in the sky with the black and white and so forth, or I can take a brush with some paint and I can go right in and actually paint right in over top of these colors. And what I found with experience, that this graphite pencil also gives you a nice shadow tone along with that color. I'll just finish off the forward edge of this building here just to show you a little bit. And I leave a lot of white showing. I like to leave a lot of whites in my paintings. I don't cover everything up entirely. Keeps it a little more interesting. And I'll try one more color here. Now the shadow on the ground, again, if I was painting the grass, let's say green against the red gives you a nice contrast. And also go right over top of the graphite. You can see the shadow color. It just darkens that. It dulls down that color, but it also gives you a shadow color of that particular color there. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and actually have tried to put, I haven't gone ahead and put paint on another sketch. And you can see here the shadow patterns on the road. I've actually put another color on the road, a little burnt sienna. The shadow patterns on both buildings. And even add a little bit of sky up here. Okay, and the trees in the background were a middle value behind the buildings. Well, that concludes my demonstration today of the Sketch and Wash pencil. What it allows me to do, it allows me to translate a scene, whether from a photograph or actually on location, very quickly. I can do a quick sketch, and I can also analyze the value of the darks and lights, the shadows and so forth with just a black and white pencil. and then later on I can add color to it if I choose to. These pencil and water brush are available on my website, everettswatercolors.com. Go there, and on my supply page you can see those displayed on there. Now don't forget to sign up for my on my channel, on my YouTube channel, so you can stay abreast of my next videos and demonstrations and so forth. I'll be going into more detail using the Sketch and Wash pencil and water brush in my future classes starting next January 2019. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So keep in touch with me, sign up for my YouTube channel, look me up on Facebook, and get the information that I'll be passing out. So thank you very much for attending today, and I'll see you next time.